The absolutely phenomenal star-studded quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, is basically one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. But the one thing about him is there is some concerns with him in Green Bay that I'm going to address with. So this is not really new news. Aaron Rodgers has never been really liked by his teammates, actually. I think guys like Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Brett Favre have definitely called them out on a lot of things. And he has definitely been kind of that guy who's doesn't really communicate with people, kind of a little bit standoffish. I think that's a good word to describe him. And he doesn't exactly lead according to Colin Cowherd. Well, my take on that is Aaron Rodgers is an absolute leader. I think he actually leads the offense better than what Mike McCarthy does, because I think Mike McCarthy really isn't that great of a play caller, and Aaron Rodgers usually has to improvise a lot. And I think since he's a guy you can rely on in that moment, you can rely on any moment in the game. I think you can rely on him in the playoffs, and he's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, usually quarterback ratings in the playoffs, all quarterbacks rating at least drops down by 10. His rating relatively stays high, and I think that's very good. But a lot of people find him very difficult to work with, and not only that he's difficult to work with, the fact is he has more leverage than Mike McCarthy and like the coaches and the executives, because Aaron Rodgers is basically the guy that's really doing the best job there. I mean, if you look at New England, you can look at, well, Brady at least has Belichick, and Belichick's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He has Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft's one of the greatest owners of all time. So there's a lot of things there where Brady can't necessarily put himself above the team, and Aaron Rodgers can easily could. And I think he's already have, and I think that could definitely develop a great concern right there. And I definitely look at Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think his career will end in Green Bay. It will end somewhere else. And I'm not saying he's getting traded this offseason. Of course not. He's not. They're not getting rid of him soon. I'm just saying a couple years down the road, once his contract runs up, they might just say, "Sayonara, buddy. You're just too much for us." Because even though he helps them a lot, and I think he's the one reason why the Packers are still an intimidating team to face is because of him, and he's basically the sole reason why the Packers are intimidating. And to also add a point to this, the reason why they will have to get rid of him is they feel like since he's above the team, that they feel as if that maybe it's too much of a distraction there, that he's too difficult to work with. Because coaches have reported that he's difficult to work with. I mean, I just mentioned Greg Jennings and Donald Driver were guys that basically called him out on his personality. And I know he is a little bit of a West Coast hipster that Colin Cowherd describes him as. And I partially agree with him there. He does. I know Colin Cowherd says he's not a leader. I absolutely do believe he's a leader. I think there is a leadership gene in him where he kind of knows where he can look at a receiver and understand what he's going to do. And I think you can trust him in a big clutch moment. He's just very standoffish. And yeah, he might not be saying much on the sideline, but there is a such thing called a quiet leader, and quiet leaders have worked in the NFL. I mean, Joe Montana, cough, cough, Joe Montana. I mean, just enough right there. So none of that quiet leader crap. I think he's a fine leader. But the fact is that the team isn't all that great. It solely relies on him. And I'm kind of on the side of Aaron Rodgers here. I'm not against him. I just feel as if that eventually he might not be there in Green Bay, and he, at the end of his career, might be somewhere else. I just believe that because he's just one of those guys where he's just so much he's difficult to work with, and also the coaches, the players aren't necessarily better than with him, that it could be definitely difficult and could definitely be a distraction there. So when I look at Aaron Rodgers, probably one of the most phenomenal quarterbacks out there. I think if he wins a second Super Bowl, he would be in conversation of being one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. I mean, there's plenty of people. I guess there's a definitely not a huge majority of people, but there are people who believe John Elway is the greatest quarterback of all time. I think there's still an argument out there between Tom Brady versus Joe Montana, who's better. I think some people might put Peyton Manning up there. I think there's just a lot of quarterbacks. Hell, maybe your grandpa thinks John Unitas deserves above there. Who knows? So on Aaron Rodgers, absolutely spectacular, but I do not believe his career will end in Green Bay. And it might be And it's not going to be the same thing about Brett Favre so much where Brett Favre retires. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers, something with his contract. Something's going to happen in the locker room, and the executives are going to be like, Aaron, we can't deal with you anymore. And I think it would be the wrong decision, too.